Hey there, friends, and welcome to episode 260 of Just the Zoo of Us. In this week's episode, we are joined by comedy, podcasting, and tabletop role-playing legend Griffin McElroy for a review of the squishy pugs of the Antarctic seas, Ross seals. We discuss which Ninja Turtle we are, the Victorian era magnetic crusades, haunting siren calls below the ice, bagpipes, thick raptors, and so much more. Also, before we get started, I would like to mention that last week, Maximum Fun released a tabletop hullabaloo in which I got to play a D&D one-shot along with this episode's guest, Griffin, and a bunch of other awesome Max Fun hosts. I played as an Aarakocra wizard named Dr. Goodbones, so if you like D&D and want to listen to this very cool crossover, I will have a link to it in the episode description. Anyway, without further ado, Just the Zoo of Us presents the Ross Seal with Griffin McElroy. This is Ellen Weatherford with Just the Zoo of Us, your favorite animal review podcast. This week, a special treat. Christian's here with us. He's not usually on guest episodes. Hi, Christian.
Hi, everyone.
And I am so thrilled and honored to have a brand new friend who, for a lot of people listening, I suspect is probably not a brand new voice in your ears, but to this show is new. This is Griffin McElroy. Hi, Griffin.
Hi, everyone. I'm not all your friends. I feel like boundaries should be established. I'm your guys' friends. You too? That's fine. I can't tear down the boundaries that I've worked so hard to build, make myself so detached and aloof from our audience.
Oh, yeah. You're very mysterious.
Yeah, I pride myself on that.
I am so thrilled to have you here talking with us today because you have begun to incorporate animals into, not begun to, you've been incorporating some really cool zoology and biology into your work that I'm really excited about. So for people who are maybe new to your voice, haven't heard your work before, could you introduce us to the Adventure Zone?
Sure. So me and my brothers and dad, we do a lot of podcasts, pretty much all together. And the Adventure Zone is our actual play podcast. We started out playing Dungeons and Dragons together. And since that first campaign, have gone on to play a bunch of different games. And this season that we are currently actively doing is called Abnormals, which is all sort of inspired by the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Gargoyles. Gargoyles is an edge case, actually, because I don't know that you would call gargoyles an animal, but this genre of TV shows of big, strong animals with abs that walk on 2 feet and have big attitudes. Biker Mice from Mars is another one.
Street Sharks?
Street Sharks, definitely. Absolutely. Samurai Pizza Cats. Once you start going in, you start to realize there were a lot of these, what we call abnormals experiences.
I was thinking about, I was like, is that dated? Was that something that was uniquely interesting to kids 20 and 30 years ago? And then now our 3-year-old just discovered what he calls the Ginger Turtles.
Yeah. They got staying power.
Yeah.
They got staying power. I think mostly thanks to the great animated TV show that's on net right now, and that movie that came out a couple years ago.
Oh yeah,
boy, that was a good one.
It was a really cute movie. I feel like every 10 years we get a Ninja Turtle renaissance.
Yes, we don't every 10 years get a Samurai Pizza Cats renaissance. So I would say that the whole trend is not alive and kicking as much as it was in the 1990s.
Well, you know what? This is a great way to kickstart it.
Sure.
I think we're bringing it back. They're back. They're so back.
We're doing our best. We're doing our part.
Christian, were you a Ninja Turtle kid?
I just missed that wave by a little bit, but I had an older brother who was very into it.
Oh, good. Excellent. I was a Ninja Turtle kid.
It was good, especially if you had a lot of people in your family, because there's a turtle for everyone. Everyone has their own sort of identity.
I'm like a Michelangelo son and maybe a Donatello rising.
That's so interesting. I feel like I'm full blown Leonardo, and I wicked don't want to be. I fancy myself. I fancy myself a Donatello, the kind of quiet, cerebral type. But I think when I'm in the thick of it, I always fall back into Leonardo tendencies, and I'm not proud of it. But
you can't fight your nature.
you really can't. Yeah, I feel like on this show, you have to respect that.
Christian's a pure Donatello, true, and like I've never met a more Donatello.
See,
than
I admire
Christian.
that. We all got a little Raphael in us, though. You get anyone PO'd enough, a little
I wish I had
Raphael will
more
come.
Raphael. Like
Oh,
I
we
wish
all
I
wish.
was more.
Yeah.
We all want to be a Raphael.
Well, I think we all want to be a Michelangelo. They all. This is why these guys stick around. They all represent these incredible virtues,
Ideals
that every human wants to possess, except for Leonardo. I don't actually think most people want anything to do with him. He's the Cyclops of the group.
It's too much responsibility.
Yes.
Something really exciting to me about Abnormals that I saw poking through in things like Ether Sea and stuff in the Adventure Zone is this incorporation of like really interesting animals and translating actual zoological, like biological traits or biological concepts into a role-playing game, like incorporating zoology into science fiction or fantasy. And that's something that is very exciting to me as someone's a big fan of science fiction and fantasy. So I wanted to ask you if there's sort of a background in an interest in animals. Were you like an animal kid?
Really not. No. I think I know what that looks like, that like characteristic of being like an animal kid, because I feel like I knew animal kids growing up. And, you know, I have two sons, and I feel like the 7-year-old definitely had like an animals phase where he's like really into animals. For me, like, I don't know, we would go to the Cincinnati Zoo sometimes. I lived in Huntington, West Virginia, where like I would say the biodiversity of which is I don't know, more limited than you would see in like a city with a big major zoo or something like that. So I feel like I wasn't, aside from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Samurai Pizza Cats, like I didn't have a lot of animal exposure. And so I just never had a ton of affinity for them. The reason I kind of have gravitated towards them, particularly for Ether Sea, because I GM'd that season, was just like I like to have in sort of the worlds that we play in and the kind of stories we do, I like it when there's like a certain level of external logical like consistency to it, where it's like the real world, things that are true in the real world can inform the fantasy world. And man, once you do a season of a D&D campaign in the ocean, like that covers, like, you don't have to think of any monsters. You don't have to think of like they're all there. You can make them do fantastical stuff, like have a clam, but have it be gigantic. But for the most part, like, I need an interesting monster. Well, the ocean's full of real interesting monsters. And so I got quite into the marine biology side of things for like a year and a half there. For Abnormals, like, I'm the youngest of my family, and so my brothers, I think, have a bit more affinity for the Turtles and all the Abnormals, like old cartoon shows. I made my character last because I kind of was struggling for inspiration, and because I don't have like a ton of knowledge about animals outside of like what I have gone looking for to incorporate into our show. So yeah, no, not a huge, we don't have pets. We had a cat once, but he ran off. Like, I think animals are neat, and I like learning neat animal facts, but I don't know. It's never been like a big facet of my personality.
You'd be surprised how many like zoologists and marine biologists I've talked to on this show who have now like established careers in animal science that were like, I did not care about animals when I was a kid.
Yeah,
like,
sure.
It is surprisingly common that like sometimes you develop that like interest in learning about them later in life. But also I think it's cool that developing games and like coming at it from the creative side of things and rather than from like an academic side of things,
Sure.
like you're seeking out knowledge about nature and knowledge about like the animal kingdom from a creative angle.
Yeah.
And I think that counts.
That
You know
sort
what
of
I mean?
counts. I will say that the way that we represent different real world animal categories in Abnormals is not based on even the most remote amount of scientific research, even a cursory Googling of what different animals look like or do. I would say very little of that happens, aside from, I imagine, when we made our characters.
It's okay, because taxonomy is boring.
It really is. I'm so glad
the way
to
you're
hear
doing
someone
is
say
probably more fun.
that. Okay, great. I feel less weird about it now.
Yeah, all my homies hate taxonomy.
I was going to say, even in our own episodes, we normally just kind of skirt across the taxonomy part of things, unless there's something like super duper interesting in there. Like, hey, this thing is related to this other thing. Would have never guessed.
Yeah, because it's always like wild. It's like
it's never what you think it is.
The armadillo is actually related to the bald eagle. Like that can be true. It doesn't mean anything to me.
Right.
Now, I did want to ask why you chose the Ross seal for your character, because when I heard Ross seal, after having done this podcast now for 5 years, I've learned a lot of deep cuts. I've learned a lot of obscure animals. I had never heard of the Ross seal. I was like, what is that? So how did it appear on your radar?
It sounds like the name of like a clothing store at the mall.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like if a Ross Dress for Less and a wet seal got like squished together, it would make this one superstore. So I landed on the name first. The name of my character is Navy SEAL.
Excellent.
Which, I don't know, I was trying to think of a big part of kind of this world is like there's different factions. There's different like, not factions, like super teams of super powered animals. And it's a big part. You get to like learn about like our team is made up of people who basically left other teams and kind of came together. So like there's a lot of pun opportunity there. And I thought it was very funny to have a character who's like a superhero, abnormal character who was named Navy SEAL, but actually wasn't in the military at all, and got in some trouble because of stolen valor. I landed on that first. I thought that was funny, and then I looked at types of seals, and for whatever reason, the Ross seal stuck out to me, and I learned a little bit about it, and enough to kind of like adapt some stuff into some like abilities that he can. The game we're playing, Travis basically invented, and so we've been pretty loosey-goosey with it. Mm-hmm. So it's just like taking some things that are true about this animal and then turning those into abilities that you can do in the game. And by the time I had like finished researching it, I was like all about it. I was very into the idea for the character.
I'm really glad that you chose it, because like you mentioned, like this is a kind of obscure one. They're extremely rare.
Yeah,
they are like almost never seen, which when I was like, okay, I'm going to do notes, I'm going to do research on this. And then the first thing I come up with is like, there's very little known about the seal. I was like, you got to be kidding me. Like this sucks. It is really difficult for me.
Yeah, I mean, but that's the point of this show. You got to disseminate that so that when people see Ross seals in the wild, they know if they need to be on, their best behavior, if they need to respect his territory.
For sure. I mean, I definitely would give them a significant amount of clearance. I wouldn't be running right up on them. By the way, I should say before I really like dig into the info, I'm getting my information from the Seal Conservation Society and a master's thesis paper titled The Ross Seal and Its Underwater Vocalizations. That was by Anna Marie Siebert at the University of Munich in 2007. Thank you so much to the person who wrote that as their master's thesis in 2007. That was really helpful for me now. So the Ross seal is only found in the pack ice of Antarctica. So this is ice that's not like on the coast of Antarctica. It's out in the water a little bit. They're not so much on the actual continent of Antarctica. Antarctica also is the one on the south.
Yes.
Not the North Pole. It's the South Pole.
The ant is how you remember that.
Yeah, it's anti-Arctic. Except for me, I always had a hard time remembering which one was anti.
Mm-hmm.
Like that didn't help me as much as I wanted it to.
So the pack ice is just like an archipelago of small ice islands, for lack of a better term?
That just like surrounds the continent. And in fact, for a really long time, people thought that there wasn't a continent down there. They thought those little islands was all there was down there. I'll actually talk about that more in just a second. So these seals belong to the true seal family. So no stolen valor here. Christian knows what I mean when I say true seals. That's a boring taxonomy thing that comes up a lot. Christian, do you remember the non-true seals that we've talked about before?
Ooh. Is that getting into the sea lions?
Sea lions. Yeah. Sea lions and fur seals, not true seals. But these are. And just because you mentioned like that, okay, taxonomy is boring. I'm not getting into taxonomy weeds.
You promised me. You made me a promise.
And I promise I'm not. I'm going to keep this so quick. But I do, every time we talk about an aquatic mammal, I have to talk about the weird convergence evolution of aquatic mammals. Because if you just looked at seals and you just looked at whales and you just looked at manatees, you'd assume they were all related. They're all very similar.
And I do. I look at those guys all the time.
Can't stop thinking about them. You look at them and you're like, same body plan, right? They got flippy bits on the front and then they got a fish fin in the back. Like they must all be sort of cousins with each other.
They got the hole the fish goes in to eat it and turn it into more seal.
It's like how the Taco Bell menu is just the same ingredients configured in slightly different ways.
Yeah.
It's the Taco Bell menu of mammals. But whales are most closely related to ungulates, which are animals with hooves, things like deer and cows. So their ancestors went, it's really funny to me that their ancestors went in the water as fish, moved up to the land, went all the way up to being like a little hoofed mammal. And then they were like, actually, we did have it right the first time. We're going back. So they turned around and went back in the water. But so did seals and so did manatees on completely unrelated occasions. Like they all had nothing to do with each other. They all turned around and went back into the water independently of each other. And the pinnipeds, so like the seals, the sea lions, the walruses, things like that, they are most closely related to modern mustaloids, so things like weasels, skunks, and raccoons. So their ancestors were kind of like those little weaselly guys, and they went back into the water and became seals.
You know,
which is why they have more doggy faces.
You look at a seal face, yeah, that's the seal. That's a weasel's face. I'll grant that for sure. I didn't like that. I didn't like that's where these animals came from, but I can't deny it. They got little weaselly faces.
They're weasel adjacent. They're kind of like giving weasel a little bit.
They're giving a little bit
otters.
Weasel, like a long weasel, like a wet ferret.
Yeah, just chuck them in the bathtub. That's what you got. Now, I did mention that raw seals are the rarest Antarctic seal. Scientists are not even sure how many there are. Estimates range from 20 to 220,000. So like 20,000, not like 20
I thought you said there
that
were 20 of these guys on. I was like, I'm about to open a nonprofit.
Yeah, there might be more of them. We just don't see them very often. So not a huge idea of how many there are. They don't exactly have doors for census takers to knock on.
It seems like if we don't know something like that, there should be more people working in the animal discovery field. It seems like an understaffing situation.
It is, but also like, who's going to pay for that study? You know, like who's going to shell out?
I will pay for a Amundsen-esque expedition to the south to count the raw seals there.
I'm so hyped that you said expedition to the south, because this is the next thing I have in my notes that I wanted to talk about. The Ross seal was named after James Clark Ross. Ordinarily, I would not care about this man because this was a British Navy guy, but there was a very interesting story related to this. James Clark Ross led an 1839 expedition to Antarctica trying to find the magnetic South Pole, because this was during a time in the late 1830s, this like period of scientific ambition that was known as the Magnetic Crusade, which Magnetic Crusade goes extremely hard.
That's so sick.
Mm-hmm.
Have you heard of this?
No, that's a sick
so cool.
Arrangement of words. The Magnetic Crusade.
Yeah, so it's basically this period of time where English scientists during this like early Victorian period were just like really into magnets. Like I think they were like just figuring them out, because you can imagine if you don't understand like electric flow and things like that, a magnet, that's as close as you're going to get to magic. That's demons.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on in there.
I feel like I know quite a bit about magnets, except for how they work and where it all comes from. I feel like Insane Clown Posse is entirely
they were ahead of the game.
They're in the right. It's a mysterious thing.
Broken clocks.
We all can make fun of them because we'd be like, how can you not know that? Look in your mind. Do you know how magnets work? Probably not.
Christian might.
I mean, just a little bit, but that always reminds me of this, a little bit of a deep cut, Mass Effect and Andromeda. Where they introduce that new species and they're like, oh, you have all these crazy powers, how does it work? And he's like, I don't know. what do you mean you don't know? And he's like, how do your eyes work? Like, oh yeah, you're right, okay.
Well, it's funny because during this time they're like getting really into magnets, mostly for like navigation, like using magnets to navigate ships and stuff like that. And they had already at this point found the magnetic North Pole, and the magnetic North Pole is in the middle of an ocean. There's no like land mass there, so they figured the South Pole would be the same. It'll probably just be an ocean with like, we can just sail right to it. So they sent this sailing expedition, and instead of finding the magnetic South Pole, they did hit a Game of Thrones style 100-foot ice wall. And they were like,
sick.
oh,
you freaking dummies. How'd you not know about the ice wall? It's so big, man.
Wall. They were like, dang, mission failed. We'll get them next time. Sorry, guys.
Sometimes I walk to the subway and I go to get on the train and I realize I left my Metro card at home. And this is like that times a billion, trillion, gazillion.
This would be like getting to the metro station and realizing that you like forgot your legs at home.
Yeah, exactly.
It's proceed no further.
And also it took 2.5 years to get to the train station, and a few of us died. A lot of us died.
And many of you died.
Yeah.
So they did not find the South Pole, but they did find Ross seals, which was a big day.
They came home to the funder of the expedition and was like, don't worry. No, we didn't find the pole. There's this big ice wall. We did find these really great seals, though. And I think it was all worth it.
They're so cute. I read that the James Clark Ross did write a letter back, like afterwards summarizing his findings. And he wrote back that there was like nothing worth exploring down there. And they didn't go back for decades. He wrote back, he's like, I checked. There's nothing there.
He's not entirely wrong. Like, obviously there's cool stuff down there, but probably not for the amount of effort required in the 19th century.
Low yield.
You know what's strange, though? Why not just lie?
We got it.
We found it. Here's a picture.
Yeah.
It's true. Who's going to check?
You can't see it. It's invisible. You knew that, right? Wow.
So what they found, these seals that they found in Antarctica, which I'm sure they were not super thrilled about at the time, considering the huge letdown based on what they were looking for, was the Ross seal. So if this is anyone's first time listening to this podcast, our whole deal is that we rate animals out of 10 in different categories. And the first one is effectiveness. These are physical adaptations that the animal has built into their body. And I'm giving the Ross seal a 7 out of 10 for effectiveness. They have some very noticeable adaptations. The first of which is their face is a word called brachycephalic.
That's a cool word.
Are you familiar with this word?
I feel like I could work it out just through going through the kind of root words of it.
This word is usually used in reference to pugs.
Oh, okay.
So like a short head?
A blunt little head that is like shortened, which you can really tell when you contrast the Ross seal with other closely related types of seals like the leopard seal.
Right.
It's got a little snub nose. It looks like it just like bonked its little nose right into a wall and then got stuck that way forever.
He cuts an amazing silhouette. The Ross seal just kind of does look like a sort of a baby beluga. If you saw the shadow of this thing, you'd be like, that's a baby beluga in the deep blue sea.
The face just like is over at some point. Like it just stops going. It's very short, very blunt, and gives him a very goofy pug-like face. Not like as exaggerated as a pug. There is still a little bit more, it's not all scrunched up, but this is thought to maybe help them with suction feeding, because they eat a lot of soft-bodied prey, things like squid and shrimp and small fish. So when you are eating something underwater, it's a lot easier to like suck it up than it is to try to push forward. Because if you push forward, you're going to be pushing the water along with it and push your prey away. But if you can suck it in, then you're going to catch those slower prey a lot easier.
I can use that in the show. I'll definitely find some way to... I have powerful sucking abilities.
Slurping powers.
So I get to roll 4d8 on this roll, actually.
Well, another interesting thing is their teeth, which is not as dramatic as their cousins, the crab-eater seals. If you've never seen a crab-eater seal's teeth, do a quick Google check, like a Google image search for crab-eater seal teeth, because the crab-eater seal's teeth are like, they have little waves like notched into them. It's really dramatic.
I looked at crab-eater seals as one of the animals that I was thinking about doing.
They're so cute.
And the only thing I remember from their page is that they don't eat crabs. Cool name.
Yeah.
Cool name, crab-eater seals. Good job.
Maybe take another pass at the name. It's not too late. Nobody knows about these things. Just rename them.
Yeah.
So the teeth are insane. And the Ross seal also has these kind of like grooved, notched teeth with these like really dramatic lobes. And I was like, what function could this possibly have? Why are their teeth so lumpy? And it's thought to maybe help filter things out of the water so that when they suck water into their mouth, the teeth grooves kind of like catch things that are filtering through there. So it works kind of like a filter, like almost like baleen, like a whale's like baleen or something like that. They also have large eyes, which you can see right away. It's great. I love that they have that. It's awesome just to look at, but also it helps them see in very dim light, which is very helpful considering that they do experience 3 months of darkness in the Antarctic winter.
Their skull, I saw a drawing of their skull, I think on the Wikipedia page, that it looks like an alien. It fully looks like a flat-faced, huge-eyed sort of alien from outer space.
Can you imagine like how people would reconstruct it if you'd never seen the full animal? Like how like a paleo artist would like reconstruct it just from the skull? It would be nightmare.
A xenomorph. They would make a xenomorph and be like, oh no, we made a xenomorph. This probably isn't right.
Which is good. I like using the same logic to be like, well, what if like the extinct dinosaurs were much cuter?
Yeah.
Like they had a lot more like maybe fat and soft tissue on their face. Maybe they were really, really cute, but the cute parts didn't preserve.
Give me thick dinosaurs, Jurassic Park.
Work on it.
4 or whatever they're on.
And they're living in a park, right? Let them get a little plump in their soft, cushy life. Like, let me have it. It would be cute.
Thick raptor. Different from the other raptors, but like, they pick on him, but then he comes back at them in a big way because he's bigger, he's stronger, he has more power to burn.
He was the secret hidden weapon.
Mm-hmm.
And then this is something that's not unique to raw seals, but I find it so fascinating about seals in general that, like other seals, their nose is, pardon the pun, but sealed shut by default. So if you ever watch a seal swimming around in the water, their nose is, the resting state is closed. They have to like actively hold their nose open to breathe.
As someone who has struggled with having a deviated septum his entire adult life, I feel so good about my decision of the animal that I chose. I feel a deep, deep kinship with the raw seal. The raw seal, I want to send a crate of Breathe Right strips down to Antarctica and be like, these things are going to blow your guys' minds.
It's great. Like having it be like shut by default is super helpful when they're in the water, but they're not always in the water. Sometimes they come out of the water. So when they come out of the water, they have to like physically exert effort to like pry their nose open to breathe.
Yeah.
Which even just for me thinking about having to like manually breathe each time is horrifying.
Yeah. That's real. But the Breathe Right strips are going to sort it all out for these guys. I don't know if it'll stick to their faces just because of the shape and probably the texture of it. I also wouldn't know where to find a nose on one of these things, if I'm being completely honest.
It's just the front part. Just somewhere on the front part.
Okay.
I'll just take some trial and error.
Yeah.
We'll get there. The biggest sort of deduction I gave the raw seal for effectiveness is that they are built like a slug. So when they are on land, they can only really scoot forward in like the least efficient mode of locomotion possible. Like they have to just basically throw their whole body forward using nothing but their sort of core strength and just do that to sort of scoot around. So I guess all terrain is difficult terrain for seals.
I think a 7 is extraordinarily generous to this remarkably edible animal. I feel like when you get into Arctic animals, it gets so like wild so fast because you look at any information page, like any Wikipedia, any article, and it's like, yeah, their natural predator is, of course, the killer whale. It's like, yeah, guys, look at him and then look at all these dudes. There's no way. There's no way.
Orca clears. Like it's no competition at all. Orca is just like assumed to be, even like a lot of the sources that I was reading about like their ecology and stuff said that like, we don't know for sure, but we're assuming orcas eat these.
Yeah.
We've never found evidence, but like probably.
In Arctic sort of environments, there's no like circle of life. It is all like a triangle kind of feeding right up into killer whale. And they'll go.
It's a food pyramid.
It's a food pyramid, except the top is eating everything below it.
all roads lead to Orca.
Oh, shoot, man. I was going to say that. And now they're coming for us. So, you know what? Maybe we just find where we slot.
We deserve it, man. We've been slacking on the evolutions. The killer whale's been just beating us down in terms of evolutionary prowess.
Joke's on them, though. I will never have a yacht.
Yeah, as long as you just don't ever buy a yacht and you're fine. That's their one weakness.
Hey, don't sell yourself short, Christian. It's never say no. When life hands you an opportunity, Mr. Beast might give you a turbo yacht or whatever. You're going to say, sorry, no, orca whales.
Yeah, as soon as you start looking at like Facebook Marketplace listings for a yacht, then you can see an orca, because we live right outside of Seattle. So we can basically look outside our window and we see an orca out there just cracking its knuckles. Like, don't even think about it.
Hungry. It doesn't like the taste of the boat. It's not like that for him.
I'd rather just eat the person.
It's for the fun of it.
The thrill of the chase.
The fun of it.
Like a Kinder egg.
Kinder egg. It's a snacktivity.
Yeah, for sure.
Hey there, we are going to take a quick break to hear from a couple of our friends on the Maximum Fun Network. When we get back, we are rating ingenuity and aesthetics for the Ross seal, so stick around.
Ego sum John Hodgman.
Et ego sum Janet Varney.
And we're the hosts of E Pluribus Motto, a podcast dedicated to exploring the mottos of every state in the Union.
Every episode, we will spotlight one state and discuss its official symbols, the motto, flowers, birds, beverages, songs, and even official state muffins.
Plus, we'll hear from guests whose lives have been inspired by the state's iconography and from residents who call that state home.
Bring some snacks, a map, and your travel journal because this podcast is a virtual journey like no other.
Audi nostrum E Pluribus Motto, quae libet alia lunae de Maximum Fun.
And for the Latin challenged among you and us, listen to E Pluribus Motto every other Monday on Maximum Fun.
Since 2017, Maximum Film has had the same slogan.
The podcast that's not just a bunch of straight white guys.
Ooh, we've learned something over the years. Some people out there really do not like that slogan.
Listen, we love straight white guys.
Well, some of them.
But if there's one thing we can't change, it's who we are.
I'm Iffy, a comedian who was on strike last year in 2 different unions.
I'm Drea. I've been a producer and film festival programmer for decades.
And I'm Alonzo, a film critic who literally wrote the book on queer Hollywood.
You can listen to us talk movies and the movie biz every week on Maximum Film.
We may not be straight white guys, but we love movies, and we know what we're talking about.
Listen to Maximum Film on Maximum Fun or wherever you listen to podcasts.
So the next category we rate animals on is ingenuity. These are behaviors, things that animal is doing to solve problems or thrive, compete, things like that. I'm giving them a 6 out of 10, and that's mostly for something that you mentioned on Abnormals, which is the Ross seal's vocalizations.
Yes.
They have some haunting sounds that they make, which a lot of seals make sounds. A lot of seals make very creepy sounds. Leopard seals make very dinosaur-like sounds. And if you've ever spent a lot of time on the Pacific coast, you've probably heard sea lions and seals causing a ruckus. They're very noisy. But the Ross seal makes this very distinct, I kept seeing it described as a siren call. And I had to find a recording of it to find out that they meant fire truck sirens.
Oh.
Did you? I never was able to find an audio. Like, I haven't actually heard this. I know
had
this
to
is
dig,
true about them. Okay.
and I found a recording of it. It sounds more like a fire truck, like a ooh.
That's sick.
Like the sweeping sounds, not as I suspected, like mythological sirens, not like a beckoning sort of like.
Come to me, sailors, upon this stone.
This is the opposite. They're like, go the other way. No, we don't want you coming this way. We want you going the other way.
That's probably why no one's ever seen a Ross seal before, or very few people, I guess, have seen Ross seals. You hear that sound, you're like, I'm out of here. I set off some sort of ice alarm.
And the recordings I found were taken with, like, what are they called? Hydrophones, right?
Yeah.
So there's a
Oh.
lot of like clanging, echoing sounds.
That's spooky.
It's so spooky. It sounds like horrifying.
So that makes me wonder if it sounds differently in air, like if they're on top of the ice making that sound.
Oh, wow.
They don't have as wide of a range when they're vocalizing above water. Like they're not vocalizing as much, but when they're in the water, it really carries. It's this very like siren-y sort of sound. But what I find really interesting is that they can produce both a fundamental tone and a simultaneous harmonic overtone.
Oh, my God.
So
These are hurdy-gurdy animals. is what you're saying.
Well, it's a good thing you mentioned the hurdy-gurdy, because hurdy-gurdy is sort of adjacent. They make these sounds with, first of all, an inflatable throat sac.
That's great.
They have a throat sac that you can see if you watch a video of them vocalizing. You can see it sort of accordion out, like it like bellows almost, like it like widens, but it acts like a built-in bagpipe. So they can fill this throat sac with air, and that throat sac can keep the air flowing through. Have you ever I think, Christian, you have observed bagpipes closely enough to understand how they work.
Right. So it gives a way to have like this constant airflow. So like the person is blowing air into the bag, but it's actually the air coming from the bag into the reeds that's making the sound. So it might be doing something like that. But I bet it's also acting as a resonance chamber.
Yes, yeah, for sure. They also have an enlarged trachea. Their trachea is like wider than normal to let them make these like continuous calls, so they don't have to be like continually losing air by vocalizing, because then they'd have to come up more often, and that's a little bit of a pain.
I had to look up while recording a recent episode how long a seal could hold his breath.
It's like 1,000 years.
Because my Ross seal, my Navy SEAL went into a room that had been filled with basically a bunch of farts, and I needed to know how long I could be in that room. And I Googled it, and it was like 2 to 3 hours. And I was like, oh, okay. This is not an element of friction or danger whatsoever. I'm so good in here.
You have so many turns in that room.
Yeah,
like,
you can
good.
chill, man. You can absolutely chill.
Take a short
And
rest.
you can still vocalize. Like, you can still do everything normally because of your throat sac.
I wish I had a throat sac, man. That'd be so great.
Mm-hmm.
I could do double the jokes in 1 hour.
You never have to stop to breathe.
Yeah.
So I thought that was fascinating. They have very beautiful vocalizations, but like beautiful in a very spooky way. It's not exactly relaxing like whale song or anything, but it is mostly to, warn each other because they're solitary. They don't really love to like socialize and be around each other. So it's thought to maybe be a way for them to advertise their location to other seals so that they don't overlap. So they can let each other know, hey, I'm over here. It's like a built-in enemy battle music that like if you get too close to them, like the battle music starts up.
I love that.
Now, I did give them a little bit of an ingenuity deduction here because this is a common problem with like animals that live either in Antarctica or in a place where there's not a lot of terrestrial predators, and that they have no sort of fear on land. So when they're on land, they're like, I'm the biggest thing up here. Nobody can get me. Because remember, there's no polar bears in Antarctica. So they are not afraid of humans. You can basically walk right up to them. They will have this sort of like threatening posture where they like stick their head up and open their mouth, but then there's no follow up. Like,
it's not like
if that doesn't work, they're like, I have nothing.
It's not like a Florida gator where you see one on a golf course. You're like, that's cool, and then you're like, oh, he can run faster than me.
Yeah,
that
get
sucks.
you with the gallop. They start galloping.
I cannot imagine a Ross seal. I don't know what kind of horsepower they're working with. I have to imagine less than 1 horse.
-1 horse.
Yeah.
I saw a lot of pictures of like researchers and scientists trying to like collect them or like, strap them with a transmitter or something for research. And they're like, you could just walk right up to them. There's nothing.
Yeah.
Even if they tried to, they probably couldn't get away from you, but also they don't really try to.
I loaded up the Wikipedia page, and there's an image on here of researchers trying to capture a Ross seal in the Ross Sea. I guess that man also got a whole sea named after himself, which is sick. And the Ross seal's just like looking up and yelling, cursing God as these 2 men slowly put a net over it. Just like, come on, man, move, go. Smash through the ice and swim away. You got to have something, man.
Nothing.
You didn't pay for this at all. Nothing. Cool. And in the water, you see an orca whale, it's already too late.
Once you see it, you're cooked.
If you've never seen an orca whale before, you're like, that's a big seal. He's bigger than me. I'm the biggest thing in the world. Oh, no, he ate me.
Things went bad.
That transmitter suddenly starts moving much quicker.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's why they have to check up on those transmitters every once in a while to make sure it didn't get like eaten or something.
Yeah, if they ever capture an orca whale, they're like, this thing's got like 60 transmitters in it. Holy crap.
That's where they hand the research over to the orca team.
Oh yeah, they're like, oh yeah, you got one of ours. That's okay. Significant amount of turnover. And the last category we rate animals on is aesthetics. It's just how nice this animal is to look at. And this could go either way depending on how much you like pugs. I think if you're the type of person to find pugs and French bulldogs very cute, then this is the guy for you.
Absolutely.
This is the pug of seals. If you like the squished face, you're going to love this. I unfortunately don't love the squished face. It's not, I like the puppy face, and this isn't giving me the puppy face that I like from a seal. I'm giving them a 6 out of 10 for aesthetics, but this is kind of up to y'all. What do you think?
I think he's flawless.
I
think he's a flawless.
You give him a 10?
Smooth. I find something so soothing about the simple silhouette that he casts out. It's like
it's minimalist.
It's very minimalist. It's like he looks like a hot water bag with eyes in a very small mouth, with huge eyes in a small mouth.
If you've ever sustained any sort of like injury or something, you can just plop one of these down right on
Exactly. I have a fever. I'm going to put a cold seal on my face.
This would be an excellent candidate for a squishmallow.
Oh, yes.
Oh, for sure. It practically is one IRL. I'm saying if you showed me a picture of 100 seals, I don't know anything about other seals. I barely know anything about raw seals. I could pick out which one is the raw seal in that group. I don't think that's...
Absolutely.
I think that's got to get you special. I find, I guess, uniqueness beautiful.
They are beautiful.
I guess that's just me. The imperfections are what I find so beautiful. I guess that's just me.
Okay. Yeah, it's inner beauty, I'm sure. Yeah.
No, I don't even think it has much of the... I think it knows how to scream when it sees something it doesn't understand, and it knows how to be eaten and die. I don't think it's got like a... I don't think you'd ever meet a raw seal and be like, he was so charming.
Not a lot of Riz on that one.
Not a lot of Riz, unless you consider like, Riz. Maybe raw seals like it. We'd have to ask a raw seal, like, you like this?
We'll get him on the mic.
They got a mate, right, to make more raw seals, so it's working for somebody.
If I were wanting to give an accurate score on this one, I would need to see some video of its like terrestrial movement, because I think it would fall into one of two, having not seen it yet. It's either going to do like a worm type
It's
movement.
the worm.
Okay.
It's the worm.
I think that's better than the other thing I was thinking of, where it's just like basically a tube scrunching up and then getting longer.
Yeah.
Like inchworming. It's like someone who has seen people do the worm but hasn't actually tried to do it themselves. It's like their first time trying to do the worm.
Oh,
that's
man.
what they look like, but they never get better at it.
Y'all, I didn't watch any videos of these guys, like, ever. It's good. They spend most of their time just kind of chilling on their sides. Like 90% of their time is just chilling on their side.
It's a blissful existence. Can I tell you, I was like looking at YouTube videos and I found this one video of raw seals that I was watching. And then I always kind of look at the comments to see if the comments give any further explanation or any further details. Sometimes they do. You never know. And one time I scrolled down and one of the comments said like this comment if you're here from Abnormals.
Oh, that's great. It's working.
It is. And they need it. You know, I feel like any sort of Antarctic creature doesn't probably get a lot of hype other than penguins. Like penguins are hogging the spotlight for sure.
Give me my raw seal happy feet, please.
That might not be they don't have the happiest feet, I don't think.
But it's also about singing. Have you seen Happy Feet?
That's true. That's true. That is the whole thing. He sings
it's
instead
about
of dancing.
half feet, half singing.
Oh yeah.
He can't. The main penguin can't dance, and he suffers for it so much. Do not take his singing away from him. It's all he has.
You could meet a raw seal, and the raw seal could teach him a thing or two about singing.
Yeah, in a very specific and haunting way, apparently.
Well, the raw seal is a delightful creature. They could be facing challenges with changes in pack ice formation. Now, I learned this is interesting. Antarctic sea ice has actually been slightly increasing over the last few decades, which is in contrast to the loss of Arctic sea ice. So in the north, the sea ice was going away. In the south, the sea ice was slightly expanding.
That's just gravity right there.
It's all flowing right to the bottom.
Everything goes from up to down.
That was until 2023 when there was a sudden drastic decrease in Southern Ocean sea ice.
That's a bummer.
So yeah, it does. It turns right around on you. But that was like also you'd have to still look for the averages from year to year. So that was like a particularly rough year for sea ice. It could be better next year. We'll keep an eye on it. But yeah, like changes in Antarctic sea ice and changes in sea ice all over the globe could be a threat to the seal in the future. Like I mentioned, we don't know how many of them there are. So like we don't know if they're particularly like at risk, how their populations are doing, if they're stable or declining. But as always, you know, with this is a marine creature. So being a good steward of your marine environment and supporting your ocean conservation is a great way to support this goofy little guy. It's a great way to stand up for the little pug of the sea.
Don't condescend to the noble Ross seal. He's doing his very best.
Okay, sorry to all the Ross seals.
He is pitiful. He is incredibly pitiable, just from every sort of, on an aesthetic level, on a technical level. He's not a turbo predator. So support them because they need it. They are struggling. Just sort of like at a base level because of who they are.
Dang.
They're so cute.
They are so cute. Griffin, thank you so much for joining us to talk about raw seals. Could you please let people know where they can hear more of your work?
Sure. So if you go to McElroyFamily.com, you can check out all the stuff we do, like My Brother and Me, and Sawbones and Wonderful, and The Adventure Zone. And if you like actual play stuff and you like animals, check out our current season. There's only a few episodes out right now. We just started it a little while ago. It's called The Adventure Zone Abnormals. And you can find it wherever you get podcasts. New episodes come out every Thursday? Thursday? That feels right to me. Thursday feels right. I can say it in that tone of voice. This season is also, we are trying to keep it PG. That is not true of our other seasons, but we are trying to avoid swearing and super adult subject matter, because I know there's lots of people who like the Adventure Zone and have like read our graphic novels to their kids and have wanted to kind of like introduce. I would love it if my son could listen to the show and not hear his father weave a tapestry of profanity that blocks out the sun. So yes, that is also what we're trying to do this season. So come check it out.
Very exciting for families who like to listen to podcasts together,
Yeah,
like
sure.
in the car, maybe you're on the way to school, something like that. Great thing to just kind of turn on and listen together. And then maybe, get your blossoming nerds into actual play, tabletop role playing and animals at the same time. So everybody wins.
I don't think animals can play role-playing games.
That's true. Maybe that could be the next season. Maybe you could get an
Animals
actual
to play
animal in the mix.
human beings.
Yeah. You could get those dogs with the buttons.
What?
On TikTok, the dogs that have the buttons that like they push the button and it says something.
Ellen, you
So
must
press, like,
understand
treat outside.
your algorithm is wildly different from my own. I don't get anything like that.
We could get a dog pressing buttons, I think, to play.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now, of
D&D.
course, I'm going to go look that up. That's crazy that dogs are pressing buttons to communicate.
I wouldn't put too much faith in it, but it is an interesting thing to watch, and maybe we'll get one. We'll get one playing D&D one of these days. We'll get them up there. Just give them a character sheet; they'll be fine.
Mm-hmm. Just perceive.
They're already better players than me because I always forget to perceive.
They just press Doritos.
I need that button on my desk.
Yeah, a button that just says Doritos to nobody.
Into the ether,
Yeah.
hope some materialize. Well, Griffin, thank you so much. I have had so much fun, and I will have links to everything in the episode description, so anybody listening can just scroll down and click through and find more of the McElroy family's work. Thank you all so much. We'll talk to you later. Bye.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Thank you all so much for listening. I hope that Ross seals have found a nice spot in your heart to lie on their side and scream. If you liked what you heard, I hope you leave behind some kind words for us in a review on your podcast app of choice. If you would like to hang out with us online, we're on Facebook, Instagram, Discord, TikTok. Links to everything will be in the episode description. You can also send me an email at ellen@justthezooofus.com if you have a cool animal you'd like to hear us talk about on the show. We would like to thank Maximum Fun for having us on their network alongside their other amazing shows like The Adventure Zone and all of the ones that you heard promos for here today. You can go check those out and learn more about the network and how you can be a part of supporting our show over at MaximumFun.org. Finally, we would like to thank Louis Zong for our theme music. That's all for today. We'll see you next week. Thanks. Bye.
Maximum Fun,
A worker-owned network.
of artist-owned shows.
Supported
Directly
by you.